beautiful people. Today, we are building the ultimate team of the year squad. Welcome back to another episode of Pick 10. And today, we have a brand new guest. We have Stanman, aka the Juice Box, aka Maximilian. How am I doing? Welcome.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm first off, I'm honored. My team of the year takes always a little interesting. So I'm going to be honest, you do have to prepare for that as, you know, an uneducated American. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
Hot takes only, and it's a little bit of a debate anyway, because I do need to know your criteria. And if you're new to the series, the rules are simple. We have alternating picks. You cannot repeat players. And as the guest, of course, you get to begin. We should start with goalkeepers, and I believe you're going to get whoever you like here. I don't think we're going to see the same picture.
I'll be honest, this one, there might be a little recency bias here, and people were not happy with my vote here, and it clearly was not a fan favorite, but I'm going to go with Donnarumma.
Oh, that's who I have too. That's
recently.
who I wanted.
I saw his performance in that tournament recently. I was like, he is the only man that should even be considered for this award. I get the Martinez hype. I understand it. He is deserving in a lot of regards too. But if Donnarumma wasn't on PSG, this is a completely different conversation.
I don't know if you heard me. I was going crazy over here. I was reacting because that would have been my mainstay. I have been on board with Donnarumma for multiple seasons now. I think he's one of the best goalkeepers, both in real life, but also in the game. And people kind of overlook him because he doesn't always get the links that you need. But if we're just talking about ability, consistency, being a brick wall, those goods, some extracurriculars, he would be my option. Well, that makes me have to shift up something. I'm taking a glance, and I'm going to do something that you might not have expected, but the Portuguese will love it. I want Diogo Costa. Give me him. Put him into the lineup, in the rotational. A lot of the other goalkeepers, I just don't think the upgrade's going to matter. Not moved in terms of the needle. I think we could do something here with Diogo Costa, so that's what I'm rocking with. And that leads us into defense. I did not expect that. In a wonderful beginning. And let us know in the comments who's done better here. What are your choices? You could be highly controversial. I don't mind. Like I said, we're only going hot takes. Let's go with a left back as your first selection.
This, again, maybe another hot take. I don't really think it is whatsoever in terms of, if we're going to factor in performance for the team and performance in the game, I don't think there's any other option here other than Hernandez. Like,
it's not a hot take, bro. That is.
I was gonna say, I was getting cooked. People were like Grimaldo. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I mean, Milan just won that Italy tournament too, and we're sitting here yapping, saying that no perform. Like, I won't stand for it. Just because they're not in the Premier League does not mean that they don't play football. I'm ready to start that conversation.
I'd be interested in seeing DeMarco. I really liked his Champions League edition. And if we started getting into 90s across the board, the Italian's going to make something special happen. And he could link with that Donnarumma.
I like that a lot, actually, to be honest, because that card has been special ever since Grimaldo got that pace nerf. I was not happy about that. Center back, left center back. I'm actually going to switch up, you know, a little bit from my
There's only one that you could take as your first choice.
I'm going to be honest. It's not going to be the one you think. We're factoring in-game performance. I'm going to even factor in a little bit of the end of FC24 here. Bastoni.
Wow.
And people are going to look at me like I'm absolutely insane, and I understand that. I hear you, but if you used Team of the Season Bastoni last year, you know exactly what I mean. He's like this Serie A Saliba. Because he doesn't link well, no one uses him. But when his card gets a nice promo, everyone's going to have him and everyone's going to use him. And then they're going to be like, oh, Stan, oh, my. But it's not a popular take because he plays in the Italy League.
It put some respect on his name. I agree with you. I talked about Bastoni last year with the upgrades. And to your point, you typically get discounts in the Serie A. I don't think I can not take Virgil van Dijk. So we'll just do that. It's an obvious player. It is the obvious player built for the business. You know, he's going to win everything in the air. One of the greatest defenders we've ever seen.
I do like Ta. I'm not going there. Can't be understated, but similar to, you know, your first pick, I don't think there's any other question about who this should be. Saliba. I understand the Rudiger hype. I get it. It's heard. He never has Anticipate Plus. It's always Bruiser Plus or Aerial Plus, and then he never even has it as a play style. And I'm going to be honest, I'm spamming Anticipate Plus. I'm spamming Standing Tackle, and it works. So we can hate on it all we want. There is value in Anticipate Plus.
I hear that. I still think I have to take Rudiger. I was looking at it because you went in the Italian movements or you went to Serie A. I was thinking about Bremer, who's been pretty special this year. He has a place in my heart, without a doubt. The Brazilian's been on an uptick. But if we're going for wins, a Rudiger upgrade, and if you're a manual defender, his physicality, he's one of the best to do it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises in the defense. I'll just be completely transparent. Last but not least, right back, of course. Who's going to be your starting right back in the rotation?
I've got different votes if we're voting for who deserves to be here and if we're basing it off the game. But if I'm talking straight business here, straight game, who am I starting at right back with a special card? There's no one else other than Ping Pong Frimpong. Like, he's always the fastest guy in the pitch. Like, I can't run by him. For whatever reason, I can't pass by him, even though he's like 5'2". It's an easy choice.
I always describe him as being almost bouncy. He doesn't necessarily feel like a right back. If anything, maybe a right mid. You could say he's a wing back. He's more offensively gifted than on the defensive end. But I will say this, and it helps me with my selection. I'm more interested in the upgrade. Frimpong's already zooming fast. But if we can get a Trent Alexander-Arnold, now with pace and physicality to go with the passing and being able to have some of those intricacies and details, I think it's maybe a more interesting upgrade on the virtual pitch. But that's just me. That'll be my choice. That rounds out our defense. I think the midfield is going to be so controversial. It's going to trigger plenty of you.
This is hard. And I'll say it. I got a bone to pick with EA with KDB not being here. The KDB pace upgrade is always a special card, and it's not here, and I'm a little fired up about it. That being said, I'm going to be honest, passing's a little difficult this year, and I like kind of being a rat this year. I'll be honest. So I want to see the super juiced Rodri card. I want it. I want the Anticipate plus, Tiki Taka plus, Long Ball plus, 99 defense, 97 physical. I want to make your life absolutely brutal with holding plus plus.
Ballon d'Or winner, of course, deserves every accolade. Should be a shoe-in to get a midfield spot. Otherwise, we'd have to have some different conversations. And underrated with the Tiki Taka. I think if I'm going to match you with maybe more of a defensive choice, I'm going to put him as a box-to-box. We've already seen multiple upgrades, and he surpassed his teammate. I've got Valverde, and I would prefer him all day over Jude Bellingham. Even more so if you get the skill moves or you get the weak foot. He's just everywhere. Kind of takes over the pitch. He's somebody you have to watch out for. You try to avoid any sort of 50-50 matchup.
Valverde promo would be very scary. Choice number 2, another card that I feel has been disrespected but is overly deserving of an aggressive promo is my idol Cole Palmer. I'm done seeing bad pace on Cole Palmer. I think a Team of the Year upgrade on him would be quite special.
I had him on my list, and especially with almost the momentum and the hype around Cole Palmer. And he's got that body type. He's a much taller player where you get some different versatility. If you bump the dribbling, you bump the pace. Now we got a little more of a razzle dazzle. And I'm going to take a player that's not on anyone's list. And I'm looking virtual pitch here. Don't come after me. Don't at me. I just would love to see the upgrade. Bayern Munich, Musiala. I'm not making a case for him being the best to be playing or that he had the best year on the actual pitch, but dribbling is just remarkable. So responsive. You know it's going to come with a 99. He's got the 5-star skills. We're in the business for someone that is going to be unstoppable.
That's a good one. I'm going to take a page out of your book. Someone that I actually do use. No matter what anyone says here, I used last FC, and I strongly considered using him as a shadow striker. But none other than Walmart KDB, I like to call him, D. Ketelaere. He is massive at like 6'4", but he's always just a little slow. He's a little slow, like 82, 83 pace. I can't do a lot with that with gold VVD or, you know, any promo Saliba ever. So,
and a clunky 82 or 83 pace, we should just mention. Sometimes it doesn't go that way, but when you start getting into that balance stat and even the agility, if it's not where it's supposed to be, sometimes the front line is very fraudulent. And my last choice, which doesn't make any sense, but I like it. I'd love to go to the Saudi League. I want the Frenchman. I want Conte. I want him all the way back into rotation. I don't mind. This is something I grew up on, actually causing rage quits and making people very upset. But it's been a part of my story. It's part of the narrative. So I've got Conte in the midfield, and that rounds out our midfield as maybe the most controversial for a Team of the Year. But again, I'm looking at this from the virtual pitch.
I'll be honest. I have not liked the discourse about this pick because this is the first pick that I did on my attacker Team of the Year, both considering the in-game performance and the game performance. I think an upgrade would be extremely scary, and the disrespect to this man is not going to be tolerated, but none other than LeBron James in soccer. I mean, I don't know what else we need to see from him in a big league. Chelsea sold him for nothing, and now they're paying the price. I'll start the conversation.
There's an argument to be made that he's already in that conversation of greatest American. I think from a national standpoint, because I lived through the Landon Donovan era and I was there for the Clint Dempsey, you definitely going to stir the pot. But I'm not mad at it. As an American, we can insert our bias, and that's what it's all about. Also, what would be cool with Christian Pulisic in particular is his best item thus far is an 86.
Awful.
My first attacker choice is a player that deserves it on the pitch, deserves it on the virtual pitch. He's been one of the most difficult to stay in front of, and this has been his best year ever. I can't think of a better iteration, but Vinny Jr. might be an obvious choice, might be a clear choice, but his footwork, ins, outs, gives you deceptive Brazilian back and forths, a little give and go. You can't really defend him. And with this upgrade, I'm sure that he's going to be scoring now from everywhere.
You can't go wrong there. I'll be honest. You can't go wrong there. I've got a little bit of a sleeper. I don't know why it's a sleeper. I'm going with Geico. I don't know why this isn't talked about enough. He's got a Team of the Week card. I think he's got a Thunderstruck card too that's kind of cheap. I haven't used that, but I did use the Team of the Week card. 3 play styles on a little 6'4" guy, and then I get to throw up that Selly when I score 5 goals on you in champs. I'm all for it.
I've never heard the rebrand of Geico. Is that how we're doing this? I like that Geico has been rebranded. Well, we have to send him a tweet. Hey, by the way, this is how you're being talked about right now in these American streets. I wouldn't be upset about it. And also the upgrade would make him just so different than any of his previous items. I think my next choice has to be the best finesse shot you can get access to. Go ahead and give me Sonaldo. Left foot, right foot, range. Does not matter. It's kind of limitless. He took both the pills in the Matrix. You're not stopping him.
This promo scares me. Every time I see someone in champs with that, I'm a little scared. There's a lot of big club bias, I feel like, that comes into the right wing decision. And I'm going to say this as blunt as I can. I am not a ball follower like 99% of you. But there's someone that is hanging numbers at a rate that he's never hung in his entire career. And the team is performing at a level that they've never performed at, to be quite blunt. Mo Salah. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or. It's not even a question. I don't want to talk about it. If Vinny wins it this year just because he didn't win it, or next year because he didn't win it this year, I'm going to have a bone to pick. I don't think there's anyone else. And I get the Lamine Yamal comments. I get it. He's like younger than me. Like at that age, I was trying to get a hug and he's hitting finesse shots.
You trying to get a hug from girls at the club?
Yeah, like if
you don't know that reference, I don't know if it's going to go over to the Europeans, but I think we all live this in the U.S. where it's like, oh, can I just get a hug? I remember that. I remember that in high school, people trying to get a hug on their way out. Like that was some upward movement.
He's in a different world, but if I don't see a Mo Salah Team of the Year card, I don't know, man. I don't know what else someone has to do.
Yeah, Liverpool, pay the man. That's where this has been kind of a shocking back and forth where he can't get a contract. He's done enough for the organization. This guy has been on an absolute tear. I'm going to go out wide and get the youngster with Yamal because I'm very interested in that upgrade in particular. He hasn't had items that have been good enough yet, in my opinion. They've been okay. They've been decent. They've been good, but they haven't been fantastic. They haven't been next level. They haven't fit the meta. But it does lead me to a bit of a conversation because these are our final starting 11s. Neither of us had Mbappe or Haaland in those starting 11s. And I have a reason around that. I don't know if you want to lead or if you'd like me to go with it, but
I'll say it like it is. I'm a City guy. Okay. And I already know what that's going to do. I already know where y'all are going to go. You're right. I didn't follow ball my whole life. And then there was this big blonde guy rocking a ponytail and a bald manager with a bunch of aura. I've been on the bandwagon a couple years. I can be a little hypercritical here. His card in game this year, kind of doggy poo-poo.
ooh,
Like the lengthy striker just really isn't it unless you've got that 94 or 93, whatever it is. You don't have that unless your mom's credit card is begging for life. Not a fan. And you know, I can't support the performance on the pitch in real life right now. Like, will they probably still somehow find a way to win the league? Probably, but it's not good. And then when you go to Mbappe, I just got a bone to pick with this card.
for me, I've been just looking virtual pitch, which items are most interesting to me. I'm not really doing the deep
like
dive of on the actual pitch. And with Haaland, the 94 is already down to 1 million coins. But the fact that he already has that item.
I like that.
I already got an item that's crushing. Same with Mbappe. Is there a version of Mbappe that's not broken? There isn't. Right now, I will ruin your weekend using the gold Mbappe. And I don't need an Mbappe with a bunch more 99s. Yes, he would be unstoppable, this and that. But some of these other players, even though they're high rated, it would change their item so dramatic. And that's where my headspace is. Even Griezmann was on my short list. I wanted him in there. Because Griezmann, probably a double 5-star. They'd hand that out. You know he's going to have the finesse. He's going to be that floating, connecting type of either secondary striker or attacking midfielder. That's an interesting item.
I didn't like that they put Nico Williams in the midfield.
I
understand it.
I feel you.
I understand that. I was not happy about that because I think the midfield's just questionable all around to me. Like no KDB, Nico Williams in the midfield.
I think Dybala was also a midfielder. I don't think he went as an attacker. I mean, technically he'd be more of a cam. Even like a Xavi Simons, who we've seen with different Evos. We've seen with different upgrades. I think that's an interesting item in game, without a doubt.
I think one card that no one's going to talk about, and if we do think about actual on-pitch performance and the cards that they have in-game, Lookman could have a crazy Team of the Year card. I get he doesn't have like the Holland build for like kind of the way he plays and everything, that could be such a fun card.
I'm not mad at that. We already got a little bit of a teaser with the 99 dribbling. And this is the reality, is how are you making your choices? How are you making your selections? What's the criteria? We go on and on in regards to why people chose this player or that player. I think a lot of us would agree across the board. There's certain individuals from just their performance on the actual pitch that would be shoo-ins. Sure things. They'd have to be. But my interest in performance shifts. And I'll just leave that here. I think it's a good way to end the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What players are most interesting to you to use on the virtual pitch? Which players have to be in maybe from their actual performances throughout the year? I appreciate you coming on. If you haven't followed, or if you're not subscribed to Stan Man, I will make sure to link everything down below. And we'll have a lot more content coming out ASAP. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you again for having me on, brother. This was a lot of fun.